Tennessee's Wild Side, broadcast for nearly 2 decades, was originally created through a vision of the Jackson Foundation. The foundation remains a supportive partner in the mission to educate viewers about wildlife, natural resources, and opportunities for outdoor adventure. Tennessee's Wild Side is produced in association with Rockwater TV.
We noticed the calendar was marked for February 2nd at Radnor Lake State Park and Natural Area. Now that day is probably best known for a certain rodent, the groundhog. And while we always want to pay homage to animals in our wild world, the second day of the second month also happens to be World Wetlands Day.
An army of volunteers led by a former Marine make their way through the woods and into the wetlands on a mission to eradicate exotic, non-native invasive plants.
There's privet behind me and bush honeysuckle. There's two side by side. We will rid the natural area of all invasive exotic plants. It's a battle, and we're going to win it.
That kind of confidence comes with experience and the knowledge that many of those who visit Radnor Lake State Park and Natural Area are committed to the cause.
They're hardcore, so we've had some come multiple times.
See if you can get that one right there next to that log. It's kind of intertwined with a tree root.
Volunteers are visitors and neighbors.
Yeah, thank you.
They really want to contribute to give back, and we love that. And our focus is the importance of wetlands, what they mean to our ecosystem, especially at Radnor Lake, but also in Tennessee. We've got a lot of unique wetlands, plants and wildlife that depend on those wetlands to survive.
The primary purpose for their authorized access into this part of the park is to pull plants called privet and bush honeysuckle.
So what we were doing today is removing some of the invasive non-native plants that are crowding out the natural plants that would normally grow in this area if the invasive plants hadn't been brought in. And brought in mostly in landscaping, yards. So part of what we're trying to do here is not just take care of what's here, but give people a chance to learn that what they're doing in the neighborhood affects here. The reason to come down in here and do this is to give people another type of experience at Radnor Lake, to educate, and actually to take care and improve the habitat.
On a day when temperatures are dipping well below freezing, it does take dedication. But the harder they work, the warmer they feel.
I lost count. I have a pile there, I've got pile there, pile over there, a pile over there. I just kind of moved in a line, and just wherever I saw another stash, I went and started pulling them up. 200, 250, I don't know. I just kind of go through and start grabbing. I live on a farm. My parents have a farm, and I raise goats, and goats love things like privet and yupon and even honeysuckle, actually. So I got really good at figuring out what the goats like, what the goats don't, so I know what to pull and what to keep for them. So yeah, he's pretty used to this stuff.
It's not just removing the unwelcome plants. World Wetlands Day also includes hours of collecting trash that somehow still finds its way downstream into this protected wildlife sanctuary.
Everybody's seen that piece of roadside. You drive by and you see trash and you think somebody should do something about that. World Wetlands Day at Radnor Lake, we're doing something about that. Hopefully, in 20 years, this is just an education hike and there's no trash to pick up.
A cable, most likely discarded more than 20 years ago, proves to be quite a challenge. But nothing seems impossible when rangers and volunteers all work together.
Everyone's just pitching in. Everyone's doing the same thing. We're all picking up trash. We're all helping each other out. And when it gets to the bigger stuff, we have a cable that's been buried in the ground. We all just pitch in and get a little dirty, getting it out.
I was shocked by the enthusiasm that people had. I'm like, no one's gonna show up to come pick up trash. No one cares that much. But it's been very surprising, from the new guests to people who just moved here looking for something to do. It's been a nice turn of events that people just show up. It's nice to know that people care.
One of the neat things I saw today was we have a contract nurse first time she's ever stepped foot on Radnor Lake, found us on the internet, and knew that she was so tired from her nursing that if she didn't go ahead and sign up for something, she probably wouldn't go take that hike she needed to take. Amy, a nurse from Chattanooga, and that's the kind of story that really makes me get excited about what's going on over here.
The wetlands out here, they need to be cared for, just like trails and everything else. And so if we're going to be able to enjoy these places, then people, volunteers, anyone has to come out and do it. So we removed honeysuckle and privet.
And did you know how to identify those when you got here?
No. The rangers explained it to us, and they showed us what it was. And we had tools to use if we needed to, but the best way to get them is if you can get them out by the roots. So I didn't use a tool for any of them. I think I probably pulled 100, give or take. There was a lot of them. We made piles out there, and they said you can just leave them in the piles as long as the roots aren't in contact with the ground, then they won't re-root and keep growing, and so they'll just decompose naturally in the piles.
You got to get started, and you got to keep going, and you got to educate and share that experience, because there's a lot to learn about what we've done to the land and a lot to learn about what we can do for the land.
It was harder than I thought. So I think I expected small little plants that we were going to be taking out, and some of them were, this high. So trying to grab them and pull them out, some of them were really stubborn, and then some that you thought were going to be stubborn actually came right out.
And all those invasive plants they've removed, they make way for the plants and wildlife that are supposed to be here.
It's a natural area, but we've got an obligation, a responsibility, we've got a right, we've got an opportunity to engage in making it better in terms of making the habitat better for biodiversity and bringing back the native plants that have been here.
As we clean these up, we're also hoping that this is future habitat for eagles to nest in right here in Nashville, Tennessee, which I think is just phenomenal. Anybody tells you the environment's in bad shape, send them to Radnor Lake.
At Radnor Lake State Park and Natural Area, I'm Annette Noel Hall on the Wild Side. Tennessee's Wild Side has been a presentation of the Jackson Foundation in association with Rockwater TV.